How did I get involved? My goodness. I was working at Placid Brennan Outdoor Pursuit Centre in North Wales with Roger Meir, and we were instructors there. He was a good friend of mine. He dragged me up tons of climbs, both summer and winter. I can remember July, I think it was, 1983. I was aware that Robert was involved in this expedition to recreate something in the Antarctic. And I can remember it just piquing my interest and reading The Worst Journey in the World, Scott's Diaries. And I can remember it was a rainy day. Roger and I were going climbing in Wales, and as we all know, it's usually horizontal rain there. And I can remember this Austin 1100 with the windscreen wipers going like this, and Roger at the steering wheel with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. And he says, "Well, Gareth, how would you like to come to the Antarctic?" And well, I said, of course. And it would be in the capacity of supporting the planning, the logistics side of it. And I guess that's how I got involved. I had only met Robert briefly prior to that. Well, at that point, I was not slated to be one of the polar walkers. I had not been invited into the expedition in that role. It was clearly just using my attention to detail and my meticulousness, which later became annoying to all, but to help them with the planning. And for me, that's where my skill base is. That's what I like to do. I saw this as what an opportunity. Yeah, sure. Well, gosh, Robert used to call me Base Commander Gareth Wood. Yes, well, I don't know. Was I a base leader? No. I mean, we were too small, and I always like to think that we were equal team members, just throwing our skills on the table. Yes, we had all kinds of personal battles because I don't think we really understood a lot about ourselves and the different skill bases that each of us brought. But I never thought of myself as a base leader. I think leadership shifted all through the expedition. I think Robert Swan was, I love him dearly. And at the time, there were times I thought he was the greatest fool in the world. And, looking back, he's got a skill I don't have. He can stand on a table and inspire passion in people around a vision. And I'm not good at that. I work behind the scenes. Roger Meir was the fellow that reminded us why we were there and gave us the kick up the ass and kept us moving toward the final goal. So we all had our roles to play. I don't think of myself as a base leader. We all played a role. I've been asked that several times here, and I would have to say that I'm not sure that I had any memorable moment. My sole focus was the logistics of the land-based operation, and I had very little to do with it. I remember people like Bernie and Mike Seeney particularly. I remember Peter Malcolm. I remember Sarah and Andrew, but I particularly remember Mike, I guess, and Bernie because they were always full of laughter and kibitzing about. But the boat for me was something off to the side, and I can remember when we even reach New Zealand and we have to get on the boat and there's all of the hubbub and speeches, and for me it was like, why can't they all of you just fuck off and get me to the the Antarctic and leave us alone so we can get the real job done. And of course, since I've realized there's a whole story in the boat itself, and I've really come in these last few days to really know for the first time, I think, the people that supported the land-based side. It was an emotional roller coaster. Roger, Robert, and I, everybody knows. It's in the books, it's in the film. I mean, we struggled to work with each other, and I think things began to moderate somewhat toward the final journey to the pole, the last 300 miles. I think maybe we, to some extent, finally began to work as a team. We felt pleased, but at the same time, we're arriving at the pole, and it's almost like thank Christ it's over. We can all go home, and I don't have to see you again. And although being very proud of what we had accomplished, and tears in our eyes, and I mean all of the people from the American base coming out, pats on the back, and the clapping and the cheers. But literally, the base commander at that point had come out and said, well, I've been instructed to invite you in for a cup of tea, but I'm very sorry, some bad news. Not 10 minutes earlier, he had heard on the radio about the sinking of the Southern Quest. Well, it was like dropping a brick on our accomplishment. It was all over, and immediately our mind shifted to how the hell are we going to get off the continent. And for me, it was about logistics. And you know, the flight, possible rescue through Giles, our coded messages, and all of that kind of thing. So we were immediately in gear as to what do we do now. I love you all. This has been amazing. I almost didn't come. It was very costly for me, and there's been lots going on in my life just recently. And I guess I was just given the kick up the ass again, and said, Gareth, you got to go. I've met some wonderful, wonderful people down here that I didn't know very well at all that were key in getting us to the pole. I think of Roger Muir. You know, we haven't corresponded a lot. I wish to hell you could have come, but I understand there were, you know, other constraints there. John Tolson, I'm still very much in touch with. Mike Stroud, Robert Swan. I would have loved to have had Robert here. In many ways, I was quite disappointed that there was a change in plans, but that's the way it is. And for the rest of you, the crew that didn't come, well, I hate to say you've missed something, but maybe we need to look forward to, you know, another reunion down the road, and I'd ask us to keep the community going. And many of us now have children, and you know, let's help support them in their adventures and their journeys as well.